Defending champions Real Madrid will host Manchester City in the semi-finals of the Champions League. Pep Guardiola's side are the informed team, but Real are known to raise the game in the Champions League. They got the better of the English champions last season. Who will prevail this time? Hello and welcome to WION Sports Extra. I am Nikhil Mathur and I'm joined by my sports editor Digvay Singh Deo and by my colleague Vidur Kathuria. Last time City could have killed the game in the first leg. Have they learned their lessons?
I don't know, because it seems to be that Carlo Ancelotti is kryptonite to City's Superman. I think it's going to come down to game management. I think for a change, it's advantage City because they're not playing at home first time. So, they're going to be playing at home for the second leg. So they can still go to the Bernabeu and come back even with a 1-goal lead, and that's going to work in their favor. But I just think that, as we've always spoken, the La Liga title race was done long time back. I am not reading too much into Real losing to Sociedad or whatever. They have won the cup that mattered. Yeah. They beat Osasuna. And now they are in this. This is what matters to them. And when a Champions League tie happens, you can see that sort of swagger of these Real players. They walk out like gladiators. City haven't reached that level. They've dominated continental football in terms of their style of play. And everyone knows that Man City are the big guns of Europe. But when it comes to the Champions League, technically in that game, the one which is going to happen to the Bernabeu, they're the underdogs. They have to chase the game. You very well know that Manchester City they'll go attack the game. They'll try and run Real Madrid ragged. But the last 15-20 minutes, you know that Real will somehow absorb the pressure. They don't have a cohesive style like you see with a Man City. That's what we've seen. Man City is a sort of evolution of the Guardiola era, the death by 1,000 cuts in Barcelona to all of that. And then he sort of adapts his game around the players that he has. With with Real Madrid, very simple. Trust the people, trust the quality in that center of that park, and expect them to deliver. And somehow, in these big games, Ancelotti seems to have got the number of Guardiola, going back even to Bayern Munich, when Bayern Munich went and Real tore Bayern Munich to shreds, 4-0, counter-attacking football at its best.
Yeah. But Wayne Rooney thinks that City won't just win, they would blow away City. They would blow away Real. What's your take? Do you think that will happen?
Well, it's very difficult to think about someone blowing away Real Madrid in the Champions League. The 14-time champions.
But how painful would it have been for Wayne Rooney to say something about a club in Manchester and not his own club?
I think the sentiment in England is that for the neutrals, Wayne Rooney was speaking as a neutral on this occasion, that City have dominated sort of the domestic competitions for so long. I think there are some people who really want them to finally do it in the Champions League because they feel that their evolution over the last few years deserves the Champions League title, and it will also validate Pep Guardiola's reign as manager of Manchester City. And if he wins it, it will be the crowning glory. It will
remove
it will remove all question marks over Guardiola. But of course, he has to overcome a great Real.
Question marks over Guardiola.
Guardiola's
question marks reign at City.
Well, yeah. I mean, but he hasn't won the Champions League since his time at Barcelona.
2011.
Yeah, so he has only won the Champions League with Barcelona. So for him personally also, it will be a huge achievement.
Do you think Rooney made that comment on the basis of the Erling Haaland's performance? He's been scoring goal for fun. Do you think he will make the difference for City?
I don't think so. In a game like this, it's going to come down to very fine margins. It's going to come down to who dictates the tempo. You would expect City to go out and, City not going to sit back.
Yeah.
Pep Guardiola's team is not going to sit back.
It's going to be an open game.
It's going to be, you have the likes of Kroos and Modric who want to control the pace of the game. You have the way Vinicius is playing. He's deadly down that wing.
Yeah.
Okay. So then will Guardiola commit his fullbacks up the pitch? Difficult to say. See, man for man, Real Madrid's team not better than City, without a doubt. Man for man, not the best team. But this is Real Madrid. This is the Champions League. This is the Champions League semi-final. They've just won a trophy, and this is the Bernabeu. My worry is it's going to be a tactical masterclass, and a lot of what to expect from City could also be when we see what formation Guardiola sort of employs, because he's been guilty of overthinking things in the past.
Yeah.
Real Madrid is very simple. Put 11 men on the pitch, trust them to get the job done. And they somehow just know how to absorb the pressure. I think against Liverpool, I think the example is the Liverpool game last season, where they were nowhere in that final, but they still came up and held old big years.
I think it's also about last season what happened over the two legs in the semi-finals. Real Madrid edged the one-on-one battles, which we are going to see again this time. Vinicius Jr. was fantastic on that left flank, which again
So who will mark him? As you said, Vinicius, he's scoring goals out of nowhere. So, and right back, Pep has a lot of options. Who do you think will be the man who would probably sort of play on that right back position?
I think he won't. There won't be like a man marking. That's not Pep Guardiola's style.
Neither is it Ancelotti's style. He won't mark.
There will be no man marking. That's old school football.
Italian football.
Yes.
Even though good old Carlo comes from Italy.
Yeah, I think John Stones is an option to play at right back.
Stones, Kyle Walker.
Yeah.
And even he can play Laporte and Fake. You never know.
Exactly.
You never know.
Let's not look at it this way. Let's not look too technically. I'm just saying, look at who's going to be up top for Real, who's going to be up top for City. We all know who's going to start in the middle for City.
Yeah.
On the other side, left side, I think Grealish.
Yeah.
I think Grealish starts. He's sort of gone to Grealish in big games.
Champions League games. Yes.
And on the other wing,
Riyad Mahrez, I think.
Mahrez in form, or will he go with Bernardo Silva? He somewhat trusts Bernardo Silva.
He does. But last season we saw that in those big games he picked Mahrez. And
He might have a great chance to kill the game off
Yes,
last
yes,
time.
yes,
So
that-
did Grealish, by
that's-
the way.
yes.
Thibaut Courtois had 2 great saves.
So yeah.
we have a few comments coming in. Paul Karuga says Manchester City 5-3 Real Madrid. And he's a Chelsea fan from South Africa.
8 goals. He's expecting 8 goals.
8 goal thriller. Could be possible. We saw it last time. The first leg was 4-3.
I'm staying up. Yeah, you staying up.
That's where I don't like morning shift.
6 in the morning, he's got to be in. So.
Then we have some other predictions coming in. Sabla Xavier says Real Madrid will win 3-1. And he says Real Madrid will actually come back. He thinks Manchester City will score the first goal. And then
Not
Real will
surprising.
score 3. Interesting.
Not surprising, yeah.
Interesting. I think
It all
this is-
depends also on what kind of game Courtois has.
Yeah.
He also seems to, come up big in, these crunch
Other
ties.
end, Benzema to start in the middle.
Yes.
Vinicius on this side.
Rodrigo.
Rodrigo.
And Rodrigo somehow has evolved.
Exactly.
This player that he has been, he was sort of frustrated, but he's winning them the big games with decisive contributions. And with him and Vinicius on that flank, if you're Kyle Walker or John Stones as you think he'll play, they're going to have their hands full.
I think just one more thing. I think this will also be Erling Haaland's biggest test so far.
Yeah.
These 2 legs against Real Madrid, this is what he was bought in for. He is being seen as the difference maker.
Wasn't he linked to Real Madrid also?
He was linked to
Everyone
everyone.
Everyone
He was
linked to Real
linked to
Madrid.
everyone. And of course, they are going to strengthen their squad further in the summer. That always happens. But yeah, this will be his biggest test. Of course, he has, blown away the Premier League, which is credit to him. He has broken all records and he has done that in the Champions League as well. His record is phenomenal. But this is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
These big games against Real Madrid in the Champions League semi-finals. If he is able to do it,
Are we in sort of agreement that whoever wins this tie goes on and wins it?
They will
We have the
definitely-
Italians on the other side, right?
definitely they will be the favorites.
Definitely.
It's what it is. AC Milan and Inter have both done very well to get this far, and they have proven over the last few years that they are back. Italian football is back, but they're nowhere close to
the level
Manchester
of-
City and Real Madrid.
And I also think that where this game will be dictated or decided is the battle of the mind games. Because while Pep Guardiola has sort of emerged as the definitive manager in the last 15-20 years, and with all due respect to Jurgen Klopp or even Jose Mourinho, Carlo Ancelotti is the old fox.
Yeah.
He sort of knows, he's not a person who is going to bark out orders. I just love the way he manages. He's standing there, chewing his gum, observing the game. Even his press
Old school,
conferences.
very old school.
20 seconds. And as TV
sure.
journalists, our rule is 20 seconds for a soundbite, which you see on air. With Carlo Ancelotti, you get 15 to 20 seconds. So passionate is Guardiola, and some of his answers go into 3 minutes,
and
4 minutes, and he goes on, and then you got to sort of cut it, find a spot. I think with Ancelotti there, I think that works in Real's favor.
He's always very measured, very composed.
Yeah.
And during the press
He doesn't
conference
panic.
as
He
well
doesn't panic.
And just another point I'd like to make. The longer the scores stay level, the more Real Madrid will feel
Yeah,
confident.
definitely.
No, but that's in a one-off game, right? Here you have the
Even
game
the second leg.
in City.
In City, yeah, but
How comfortable will Real be? Let's look at it this way.
they will always,
The 3-1 which he said,
yeah.
is that a comfortable lead to take back?
3-1 lead for Man City.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, for Real.
For Real in the first leg. City second leg with the squad that they have.
Nothing safe.
Nothing safe. But still, that Real will take a 3-1 lead in the first leg.
But
It's
a
still
two-goal
a
cushion
two-goal.
is, yeah.
Exactly.
I
It's still a
don't see
two-goal
so many
cushion.
goals coming though.
Yeah.
I think the first leg is going to be cagey. I think City will attack. Real will absorb the pressure.
Yeah.
And I think then Ancelotti tells his men that next match, it's a one-off final. Go for it.
Possible.
I think we won't see as many goals like we saw
5-3?
7-goal thriller last time. It's unlikely we'll see that, but there will be goals. I think we will see.
That's your prediction. What's your scoreline? Let's
Prediction. I'm going for a 2-1 away victory at the Bernabeu.
2-1 Real Madrid.
I agree with Vayura. I will also go with 2-1.
So if it's an away win, then it could be even 3 or 4.
Yeah.
The thing is, City will dominate. How well do sort of Real absorb the pressure? They could take a template out of Carlo Ancelotti's former club, Everton. 22% possession last night. Beat Brighton for 5.
Possession doesn't count for anything if you don't do anything with your chances.
Champions League football. This is where it comes from. You spoke about Erling Haaland, right? But forget what happened in English football. This is a different level of competition.
Yeah.
This is like a World Cup final. It's Real Madrid.
When the lights are shining, then you have to perform.
Yeah. And let's not forget history. Real Madrid have this history in this competition. We spoke about this last month.
Yeah.
They sort of step onto the field thinking that
It's there.
we are Champions League. We exist for the Champions League, as Sergio Garcia told me last year. For Man City, they never won this. So one goal goes in, they are behind for a time. It starts affecting players. Let's face it, it does.
Of course.
As I said, they had no business losing against Chelsea a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So the pressure's on them.
Yeah.
So I think this is the biggest footballing match of this season. So what's there on a show at 6:30
No,
p.m.?
let's take the poll first.
Oh yeah, poll.
Poll.
I think this is going to be the closest poll.
No. A lot of City fans.
Just a second. Yes. Oh, very, very close.
Huh?
Nikhil.
Who will prevail in the first UCL semi-final? Manchester City 48%,
Ooh.
Real Madrid 52%.
Home advantage.
Yeah.
Very, very close.
Okay, cool. But the two best teams in Europe,
Yeah.
Yes.
without a doubt.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah, though Napoli would have something to say about it, but I would have preferred Napoli to be in the semis.
Yeah, that would have been an
Then you could have.
interesting mix of teams.
Okay. What's up at 6:30? Well, we have to start with you. The Lakers.
Yes.
I asked you someday, can the Lakers go all the way despite having a lousy season? You said. they're the
Yeah, well,
Lakers.
regular season doesn't really matter for the Lakers. As long as they make the playoffs, they can always turn it up with the team they have. And that's what they have done. The defending champions, the Golden State Warriors, are on the brink of elimination. Lakers just one win away
Where's
from
the next
knocking
game?
them out. The next game is in San Francisco.
Okay, big game.
Yeah. So
Big game.
big game for them. And Miami Heat, the eighth seeds in the Eastern Conference. They knocked out the top seeds in the first round, just one win away from reaching the Eastern Conference Finals for the third time in four seasons. So they also
They
have,
played the final against, didn't they, against the Lakers?
2020. So this is what you call playoff pedigree, which the Lakers have, and obviously the Miami Heat
Real
also have.
Madrid have as well. But the other big football story, relegation 6-pointers everywhere across the Premier League. Mentioned the Everton result. There was a 7-game thriller between Nottingham Forest and Southampton.
Yes.
Which has all but relegated
Goal fest all
fest
around.
around.
yeah. And Leicester going down to Fulham as well. So you feel sad for that team because you always associate Leicester with that great run under Ranieri. And even in the years later, they played very good
well, yeah.
football.
FA Cup champions.
Under Brendan
Won the
Rodgers.
FA
Brendan
Cup.
also.
And they
And
were
let's face it, Brendan Rodgers will get some amount of stick, but go back to the summer and see no investment. He kept asking for investment that this great team had reached its sort of end, like what you have seen with Liverpool as well, right? And you need to sort of change things around, especially when the rivals around you are strengthening. That didn't happen. Sadly, could be a situation where they go down. Disturbing news from the world of golf. We discussed it a couple of months ago. Erika Harmon's lawsuit is going to come up for hearing sometime today, and in which she's accused Tiger Woods of sexual harassment. She's invoked a particular clause in the law to ensure that the non-disclosure agreement that she signed with the golfer back in 2017, that is null and void. She's saying that in cases of sexual harassment, the Speak Out law, which was signed by Joe Biden, the President of the United States, in December, that should apply. So that's something we are keeping an eye out for. There's Giro d'Italia, as always, lovely pictures over there. And anything else?
And an award ceremony where you have been a part of.
Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. The Oscars of Sport, the Laureus Awards. Lionel Messi in Argentina, no surprises there. Very surprised to see Shelley-Ann Fraser-Price winning that ahead of Iga Swiatek. I just think that's a sentimental vote because this was her 5th nomination.
Yeah.
And at 35, not too much time left. Yeah. That was in fact the argument given when Lewis Hamilton and Messi won it, shared it in 2020, just before the pandemic.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So that and much more on our show at 6:30 p.m. IST. Thanks for tuning in.